Picture this, you just won at Watkins Glen, coming back from 22nd place to cross the line more than 7 seconds clear of the field. It was your 7th career Cup win. Your team is celebrating. Your future feels settled. And 3,000 miles away, in a boardroom you will never sit in, a decision is being finalized that has nothing to do with you, and everything to do with you. The date was August 17, 2026. Nobody outside a small circle in Charlotte knew it yet, but a signature had just been placed on a piece of paper that would ripple through the entire Trackhouse racing organization. What if the biggest threat to Shane Van Gisbergen's career didn't come from a rival driver on the track, but from a driver who isn't even racing against him? Somewhere in Charlotte, Hendrick just moved a chess piece 2 years ahead of schedule, and nobody in the garage saw it coming this early. Here is what actually happened. Hendrick Motorsports signed a driver to the number 48 car for the 2028 season. Not for next year, not for the year after. 2028. And this is exactly the moment NASCAR Insider TV is closing in on a 1,500 subscriber milestone. So if you want to keep seeing how this story unfolds before anyone else covers it, subscribing, liking, and dropping a comment below helps this channel keep breaking it down in real time. The driver Hendrick locked in is Connor Zilisch, currently Trackhouse's own number 88 driver and only 20 years old. The context that makes this land is that Alex Bowman announced he is stepping away from full-time racing after 2027, which is what opens the seat Zilisch is being brought in to fill. Here is the twist. Zilisch is still under contract to Trackhouse through 2027, which means Hendrick locked in his replacement driver a full season and a half before that driver is even eligible to get behind the wheel for him. Hendrick explained the move himself. When someone with that kind of ability and character becomes available, you do everything you can to bring them into your organization. On paper, this is a young star's big break. But strip away the headline, and what Hendrick actually did was hand Trackhouse Racing a deadline, and Van Gisbergen is standing directly in its blast radius. Think about what this signing actually represents. Hendrick Motorsports is one of the most successful organizations in NASCAR history, and it does not commit a seat 2 full seasons in advance for just any driver. The number 48 car itself carries the legacy of Jimmy Johnson's 7 championships, so handing it to a driver who is currently only 20 years old signals exactly how much value the organization places on Zilisch's resume. It also signals something else entirely, that the biggest teams in the sport are no longer waiting for a driver's contract to expire before making their move. They are planning around the calendar of a rival organization's roster instead of their own. This is not just Zilisch's story. Here is the math. Zilisch leaves Trackhouse after 2027. SVG's current deal also runs through 2027. Ross Chastain's future beyond 2027 is unresolved as well. That means 3 drivers and 1 organization are staring down one single offseason where everything could break open at once. Justin Marks already framed the situation in his own words, saying Trackhouse's mandate is to get a strong 2027 season out of Zilisch so that when he leaves Trackhouse and goes to Hendrick, hopefully my phone rings and we have a lot of options. That is an owner already talking about his own driver's exit like it is decided. The fans in the garage's orbit are saying it too. Skyfall Camaro said, Alex Bowman, Connor Zilisch, driving the 88 in Cup before moving to the 48. Carla Jr. said, the writing has been on the wall this whole time. And Silent Life 8029 asked the question that matters most. Does that mean SVG is next? That single question, sitting in the middle of a fan reaction thread, is effectively the question this entire situation now revolves around. It reframes a driver development story into a countdown clock hanging over the number 88 team, the number 1 team, and the number 42 team all at the same time. Trackhouse built its identity as a 3-car operation, capable of competing with the sport's oldest organizations, and that identity is now tied directly to how it handles a single offseason still more than a year away. Before answering that question, it helps to understand exactly what Trackhouse would be losing. In 2025, Van Gisbergen recorded 5 Cup wins as a rookie, the most ever by a rookie in series history. In 2026, he added 2 more wins and currently sits on the edge of the chase cut line. The Watkins Glen recovery, from 22nd to 1st with a 7-second margin, reaffirmed his dominance on road courses, adding to a list of road course victories that already set him apart from nearly every other driver in the current Cup garage. He is also no longer just a road course specialist. His improvement on ovals is exactly the kind of well-rounded resume that gets noticed across the garage. Van Gisbergen himself said, "I can see myself here for another 2, 3, 4 more years. I don't have a timeline on it, but I really enjoy my racing," he says home. But NASCAR has heard drivers say that before, right up until the day they didn't stay. D-Man6233 put it plainly. Wouldn't be the first time we see the announcement with another year to go. It's happened several times before. NASCAR's recent history backs that pattern up. Tyler Reddick announced his move to 23XI racing well before his previous contract had actually expired, and Kurt Busch changed teams multiple times across his career under similar early announcement circumstances. Driver moves are increasingly announced well before the seat officially opens, exactly the way Hendrick just did with Zilisch, which is what makes the comparison to Van Gisbergen's situation feel less like speculation and more like a recognizable pattern repeating itself. The vacancy problem makes Trackhouse's position even harder. Justin Marks has publicly shut down rumors of selling a charter, saying a 3-car Trackhouse lineup isn't going anywhere and that Chevrolet likes Trackhouse having 3 cars. But that commitment means the number 88 vacancy still has to be filled by someone, and the entire garage now knows that vacancy is coming in 2028. Silly season is already starting early, with fans speculating over who replaces Zilisch before Zilisch has even left. Afro Midget said Trackhouse is all but going to implode in the coming years, while D-Man6233 raised the scenario directly, warning that Ross, SVG, and the number 88 replacement could all be in flux in one offseason. That would mean Trackhouse negotiating 3 separate driver futures at the same time, inside the same silly season, drawing from the same limited pool of proven talent available across the garage. Hendrick's early move does not just threaten Trackhouse. It teaches every other team in the garage that talent can be locked down before a contract even expires. Van Gisbergen already has ties elsewhere in the sport. His Truck Series relationship with Spire Motorsports and his earlier connection to Cowlig Racing, the team that originally brought him into full-time NASCAR competition before his move to Trackhouse. None of that confirms interest from either team, but the proximity is enough to make anyone watching this story lean in. NinjaTech649 floated the idea that Van Gisbergen could eventually land at Spire in a Red Bull-aligned move, and that remains speculation, not fact, but it keeps the mystery alive heading into 2027. What makes it worth watching is that Spire and Trackhouse both operate close enough to Van Gisbergen's existing network that any small signal from either side gets amplified across the garage within hours. The timeline pressure does not go away. 2027 is the year everything comes due at once. Zilisch's exit, SVG's contract, Chastain's future, and Trackhouse's 3-car promise, all colliding in the same offseason. Rick Hendrick did not take Shane Van Gisbergen. He may not even want him, but he just proved that in this sport, the future does not wait for a contract to expire, and somewhere in that Trackhouse garage, the countdown has already started. If this breakdown connected the dots for you, drop a comment with who you think fills that Trackhouse seat next, and share it with another NASCAR fan who needs to see how close this all is to blowing up. If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next.